quiet of the night, when the cold winds blow, there's a truth in the dark where the secrets go. Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding in the past? What's lurking down below? Only the shadows know.
On a chilly January afternoon in 1935, a well-dressed man checked into the President Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. He signed the register as Roland Owen from Los Angeles and requested an interior room on a high floor. He was given room 1046. He had no luggage, just a comb, a brush, and a toothbrush. This was the beginning of one of America's most baffling unsolved mysteries. The man, later described by hotel staff as having a cauliflower ear and a large scar on his head, he seemed anxious and kept his room dark, with the blinds tightly drawn. Over the next few days, his behavior grew increasingly bizarre. A hotel maid, Mary Soptic, noticed he rarely left the room. When she cleaned, she found him sitting in the dark, often talking to someone she couldn't see, a mysterious person he called Doan. On one occasion, she overheard him on the phone saying, "No, Doan, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. I just had a bite," but there was no food in the room. Mary also found a note that read, "Doan, I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait." This suggested Owen was expecting someone, or perhaps had just missed them. The mystery deepened when a woman called the hotel, asking for a man in a room on the 10th floor who was expecting a visitor. The details were vague, but it added another layer to the puzzle. On the evening of January 3rd, things took a more sinister turn. A party was heard in a nearby room, room 1048. The woman in that room, who was there with a male companion, complained about the noise. She later told police she heard loud talking and cursing from what she thought was room 1046, involving multiple men and a woman. The next morning, the Do Not Disturb sign was still on Owen's door. The hotel telephone operator noticed the phone was off the hook and sent a bellboy Randolph Probst to check. When he knocked, a deep voice from inside told him to come in, but the door was locked. The voice said, "Turn on the lights," and explained he'd be ready in a minute. The bellboy left, assuming everything was fine. An hour later, the phone was still off the hook. This time, the bellboy used a passkey to enter. The room was dark. He saw Owen lying on the bed, seemingly naked, with what looked like a dark spot on the bedding. The bellboy fixed the phone cradle and left, thinking the man was simply drunk. But this was far from the truth. Later that morning, the phone was off the hook again. Another bellboy was sent up. This time, he found a scene of horror. The door was locked from the outside. Inside, Roland Owen was discovered, barely alive. He had been tied up with cords around his neck, wrists, and ankles. He had been brutally beaten and had multiple stab wounds. The room was a mess, with blood spattered on the walls, bed, and even the ceiling. The telephone stand was knocked over, and the phone itself was ripped from the wall. Despite his horrific injuries, Owen was still conscious when help arrived. When police asked him who had done this to him, he only managed to say, "Nobody." When asked what caused his injuries, he whispered, "I fell against the bathtub." A few hours later, he slipped into a coma and died at the hospital. The cause of death was listed as a fractured skull, among other severe injuries. The police investigation immediately hit a wall. The name Roland Owen was a fake. There was no one by that name in Los Angeles, and the man's fingerprints weren't in any national database. The few items in his room offered no clues. The hotel staff's descriptions were the only lead. He was a man with no luggage, no past, and now, no identity. The room itself was a paradox. It had been locked from the outside, yet the attacker was gone. There were no murder weapons found. The cords used to bind him were not from the hotel. The only strange items discovered were a hairpin, an unsmoked cigarette, a safety pin, and a small, unopened bottle of diluted sulfuric acid. Also, 4 small fingerprints were found on the telephone stand, believed to belong to a woman, but they were never identified. Who was Doan? Was he the killer, or one of them? And who was the woman who had reportedly been heard arguing in the room? The mystery deepened a year later when a woman named Artemus Ogletree from Alabama saw an article about the case. The description of the unidentified man matched her brother, Artemus Ogletree, who had disappeared in 1934. He even had the same distinctive scar and cauliflower ear from a childhood accident. She confirmed his identity. Artemus Ogletree was a young man from Birmingham, Alabama. He was known to be a bit of a wanderer, but his family had no idea why he would be in Kansas City under a false name. This identification only brought more questions. Why did Artemus use the name Roland Owen? And who was he meeting in Kansas City? His family revealed that just before his death, they had received a series of strange letters from him, posted from various cities, suggesting he was traveling. They also received a large sum of money from an unknown source, which they believed was from Artemis. Then, after his death was reported, his mother received a phone call from a man who claimed Artemis had jilted his sister and run off with another woman, and that he was now in Egypt. The caller was trying to create a false trail. Years later, in 1937, a man who had shared a cab with a frantic individual on the night of the murder came forward. The passenger had asked to be taken to a spot where he could watch the hotel, and he spoke about leaving a man behind after a disagreement over a woman. Could this have been the killer? Another lead emerged decades later. A woman claimed her deceased grandfather had confessed to being involved. He said Artemus Ogletree had known too much about a crime syndicate, and they had silenced him. But this was a deathbed confession, impossible to verify. To this day, the case of Room 1046 remains officially unsolved. Was it a revenge killing over a woman, as one lead suggested? A mob hit, as the deathbed confession implied? Or was Don a real person who lured Artemis to his death? Every clue only seems to lead to more questions. The dark, locked room in the President Hotel holds its secrets tight. Who was the real Roland Owen? We may never know the full story of what happened that cold January night, leaving it as one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries in American crime history. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries like this one, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the unknown. See you next time.
In the quiet of the night, when the cold winds blow, there's a truth in the dark where the secrets go. Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding in the quiet of the night when the cold winds blow?
There's a truth in the dark where the secrets go.
Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time. What's hiding in the past? What's lurking down below?
Only the shadows know.
In the quiet of the night, when the cold winds blow,
There's a truth in the dark where the secrets go. Every whisper, every crime, unraveled one clue at a time.
what's hiding in the past? What's lurking down below?
Only